Thank you for coming, everyone. This session is Meetup with Plone community and the Japanese JavaScript community. This session is not a silent listening session. No. You can raise your hand at any time and ask questions. First of all, we introduce organizers of this meetup. Please.
Good evening. I'm Yoichiro Hino. I'm presented today for introduction to React Native. I'm CTO of Study Switch. Nice to meet you.
Hello. I'm Kazuhiro Hara. I'm a full stack web developer. I have helped the front end of Plone at the Terada's company, Manabu's company, since 9 years ago. I was coding HTML, CSS, JS for some universities and public institutions using Plone. Andスピーカーの皆さんも来てください。And there are special answers. Please introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Eric Breo. I'm a Plone contributor, and I've been doing a lot of Python, of course, but I also, now I'm just a front-end developer, and I've been using many different frameworks, as we all do, but now I'm using Angular 6.
Next, please.
Hi, I'm Timo. I'm CEO of KidConcept. At KidConcept, we used to do a lot of Plone, but in the last 5 years, we did large projects with Angular 1 or Angular JS, with Angular 2, and with React on the front end.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm a freelancer at the moment. I've been doing front-end for, well, a long time, 20 years maybe longer. So I've been doing lots of vanilla JavaScript, as is what calls back then, and probably did most of all the frameworks which were used up until now. And at the moment, I'm mostly doing React.
Hi, I'm Victor. I'm Timo's coworker at KidConcept, and I've been a kind of full stack developer. And work a lot with Plone in the last 15 years, and now I'm moving slowly to front end as well, and I kind of like it. And to the dark side, yeah.
Thank you. And they are speakers of Front-End Day. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Tadashi Koiwahara.
Mr. Arai, please.
Okay, I'm Masataka Arai. Please call me Masa. I usually use Angular and Django. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Lina. I am an IoT engineer. I talked about engineering muscle training interface and IoT muscle training. Thank you.
I'm Tadashi Koyohara, a freelance front-end developer. I talk about how to enjoy creative work, about my necessary and creative motion build easy fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
I'm virtual reality. I'm Hirokazu Egashira. Please call me Hiro. I talk about today's session, the immersive web, in short, web XR. I'm now main role is XR engineer. Yeah, I'm main tool is Unity. So よろしくお願いします。
Thank you. Let's try the first question. No, please request for everyone. If your question is difficult, let's input it. Google Translate, please. Very difficult question. Okay. First question is, what is the most popular JavaScript library in Plone web development?
Shall I answer the question?
Anyone can answer?
Yeah. So, I mean, as a Plone community, we always have been really open and like friendly about like, or open about like the frameworks and what people were trying out. I guess you can say that I heard that people are working with AngularJS at first, Angular 2, React, Vue, and Aurelia, I think. Yeah, Angular 1 is more or less that, right? Nobody's using that as far as I know. Angular 2 is, we have, what? Angular 7, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Don't want to be offensive. So Angular 7, we have that, that great Angular SDK written by Eric here, which is a great foundation if you build an application on top of Angular 2, right? But it's not like a full CMS frontend, but just an SDK, right? So that's what we have in Angular 2. Then in React we have Plone React or Volto, which is not an SDK, but it's a full-featured frontend for Plone. And I know that the people from Teamworks from Switzerland, they started with an, I think, I'm not sure if it's an SDK or like a front end, a full front end implementation for Vue.js, but I'm not sure if they're actively using it, and those are the projects that I'm aware of. Yeah, and
yeah, just to regarding current Plone, the current version of Plone is not using any of the framework, well, a little bit React, but what we have is currently is something we name Mockup that we made specifically for Plone, and it's not based on such a framework. For now, we are agnostic regarding Plone 5. Right now, there is no specific solutions that have been used widely. So what we have been talking about are just what we are currently using to build the next versions of Plone. And yeah, you mentioned at lunch that in Japan, Vue.js was the most popular framework, right?
Yeah, Vue.js is popular in Japan. But I think React is the most popular according to the sessions of the Plone conference 2018. And React session is maybe seven sessions about, but Vue.js is no session. I use React. I love React. Vue.js user. Hey, and Vue. Only two. Yeah. Three.
And as said, I mean, there are at least two other people in the Plone community who are using that from Teamwork. And I think for Teamwork, they built their solution on Vue. They made that decision like a year ago or so.
They studied it at the last conference.
Yep. But it's like all on different levels, right? As I said before, if you want a full-featured framework, a full-featured front-end, then React is the only option right now. If you need an SDK, then Angular 2 is I guess, a good option.
In value, Vue.js is also a very good choice. Right?
Yeah, it's a good choice, but the starting point will be a different one than Angular. So my personal opinion is that like React is at first place, not in terms of like that it's the best framework, but that's the framework that most Plone developers are currently pushing, and then Angular 2, and then Vue. That's like my feeling, but I could be mistaken, and maybe others have other opinions.
I do agree. Yeah.
So the question here was, is it most popular according to all the talks which are here about React? And Plone is and has always been like a duocracy, as we call it. So it's actually, if people actually build something using a specific technology because they like it or they have the other ideas about why they want to use it, that's what is used. And actually this year, this is actually the first year, as I know, that there are actually this many React talks, or I think that's maybe like the first year there's any React talk at all. Last year there were Angular talks, and there are less talks about Angular now because the product is already there, and React is now, there's a lot of talks about it because it's new, and we introduced it here. So that's the reason why there is a lot about React calls, talks, and not that many other ones at the moment. But maybe next year there's a lot of stuff being done in Vue.js or Angular or Elm or any other framework which pops up in the next year, and then maybe there's no talk about React and there will be talks about other technologies.
Vue is more popular next year?
Maybe. I don't know. So maybe if somebody will step up in the Plone community and create something with Vue, like for Teamworks, for example, then maybe they will build something really awesome, which they will show next year in the Plone conference. And that could be that we're all doing Vue back then, but we'll see. We never know. We didn't plan, or we don't plan this, but we have to. It's growing organically.
I think these questions also still trigger the pillow fight, right? And I really think that it's not about which framework are you using, because the three frameworks that are mentioned here are clearly converging, at least in a way of how they think that things should be done, and also in several ways, right? I mean, and concepts and how do things, right? And it's not about the framework, but what you get, what is the finally solution that you get to. So that doesn't really matter which framework are you using. It's the final thing that you are producing and you are using as a solution to do things and to accomplish things, right, at the end.
I have a question for the people who are using Vue.js, so you and you. Are you using JavaScript or TypeScript? JavaScript. Yeah? And you? Okay. And I have the same question for people doing React, so I don't know, who is doing React here? So is there some people doing React with TypeScript? Absolutely. No, I mean, you are doing? No, you're not. Okay. Some people are doing it? No? With? Flow, okay, yeah. So I already discussed about it with Timo, but I would like your opinion. Who people are doing Volto. Would you consider moving to TypeScript? Yes or no, and why?
Personally, I'm still a bit undecided on that. I come from a Python background, and I had to learn Java in the university, so I kind of hate strongly typed languages. But TypeScript is a bit different. They have a duck typing system, right? So I think they got that right, and we did large projects both in Angular 2 with TypeScript and in React, right? And TypeScript has its merits for sure. If you use TypeScript, then your error reporting is a bit better, but it also like gives you a bit like less of flexibility. And React has like things like flow or like prop types, right, that go into the same direction. And personally, I'm still undecided. I guess I wouldn't oppose moving to TypeScript if the majority of developers would want to do that. But I'm definitely not like totally pro or con in either way. Yeah.
Yeah, so indeed, React has Flow, which is, as far as I know, not that often used. I mean, it was a thing like, I don't know, when it was introduced, like 2 years ago, I guess, or 1.5 years ago. People started using it, but it's not as popular as it should be, or as the idea was. What you do see is that more people are moving in the React world as well to TypeScript, but still the majority is just using JavaScript at the moment. Personally, I like TypeScript, so I think it's definitely a good language. But my main concern at this stage to move Volta, for example, to TypeScript is that most of the examples and most of everything which you actually learn in the React world is still based on JavaScript. So if that's going to shift towards TypeScript, so more documentation and more training material will be available in TypeScript, then I'm definitely for moving to TypeScript. But at the moment, I'd like to, since it's already quite hard to get more people involved into doing development, if we introduce more technologies and more changes into there, I'm worried that it's going to be even harder to get people in. Yeah. But since there are a lot of people, I mean, in Angular you have to do TypeScript, so that would mean that more developers will do TypeScript, learn TypeScript anyway, so I guess we can finally make it maybe rather soon.
Yeah, I approach the Angular world first when I was learning front-end development, and for me it was, and it still is, like dealing with another layer of abstraction. And it's somehow hard, especially when you're learning something new. When I stepped down and switched to React, it was like throwing away one of those layers of abstraction, and it was easy for me to understand and get into the modern front-end world. And it's true that all the goodies that TypeScript gives you, they are definitely okay. But again, I think for maybe having or not having this layer of abstractions is still a big deal. And maybe we get the wrong time into approaching Angular because it was just starting. But yeah, on the other hand, in React, we have to do the same default, right? Like TypeScript does, or like using decorators or not, or using this Babel whatever plugin or not, and then that is something that TypeScript gives you for granted, and is the only thing that I will say that I could miss right now from TypeScript. But this is something that you also can solve by giving a developer guideline, right? Like, no, Volto is going to be this plugin, this plugin, and this plugin, and if you are developing for Volto, you should follow those guidelines.
That will switch like next month.
Yeah.
Okay. Next slide, please. Let's see. The next question is how important is dynamic UI or expression for developing websites with Plone? Do you understand this English? Okay. Expression is content. Rich contents. How important is rich UI and rich content for Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I get the question. So I think we cannot keep a CMS the way it was like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, because user expects something else. Right now, people get used to dynamic website. They get used to nice UI, and if you do not deliver that to them, if you just push a form with a basic submit button at the end, and then you're going to reload another page, they're going to be disappointed, right? It's not possible to keep on with this kind of approach. So CMS need to face that, and it is a super difficult challenge because CMSs have been built at a time where we were not involving JavaScript a lot into web pages, into website. It was not, we did not add this kind of expectation at the time. So their structure is not designed really originally to manage that easily, and that's a nightmare because CMS are super complex. It's not just about building one application, it's about building an application which is able to build a website. So it's a kind of meta application, right? And if you want to plug JavaScript in this story, it's a nightmare, and we have been facing that. We made a lot of effort to try to do that, and I know other CMS are doing it too, but we have to. There is no choice. We cannot escape that. We are supposed to deliver a nice UI. We need to keep up with the standard, right? So it's a big challenge, and I'm not sure we are addressing it the right way already, but we are trying, and I guess we are on a good track now. But yeah, absolutely, it's super important. It's a must-have. I don't know if you have an opinion on that, but I mean,
I fully agree with you.
Same.
Yeah. Okay.
We obviously agree because we are into that, right? But
Other question? Do you have other opinion?
but I'm not sure everybody is aware of that, because we have been spending all our time developing stuff the old way, and it was totally valid for such a long time that it's kind of difficult to switch the mindset, right? And it makes sense, I mean, of course. But we definitely need to face that right now.
I just want to add one comment. The reason why we all switched our mindset wasn't that like we had that idea or that somebody told us to switch the mindset. I think the reason for all of us is that we had clients project and client needs that we only could fulfill by like switching that mindset, right? Because all the projects that we are doing usually include like multiple backend systems these days. And you need to build a front end for multiple backend systems, and then you can't say like the CMS is like dominating all the other use cases, because that's not the case any longer. Web projects became more complex than they were like maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So that was the driving force behind that.
Mike.
I do have a question connecting with that. One of the things I have seen in the very beginning of my participation in the Plone community was the statement from John Kelly that one of the most important thing is to give a rapid turnaround on user interface development so that you're actually working on making the interface better, getting a better user experience for the customers, for the consumers. And I guess, or my thought is that doing all the front-end work we're now doing is exactly to getting that rapid turnaround back into the community and making the old vision important again, so that it's all about empowering the users with the simplified, good user interface. So I would like, not only from the Plone community, but also from the Japanese front-end community, know how much they feel that the JavaScript environment enabled them to deliver very quickly and very continuous a better design a better user interface and a user experience?
Sure, can I answer that? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, short question, absolutely yes. I think in Plone 5 we have two problems, or we have two problems in Plone. One problem is a technology problem, that we weren't able to introduce the latest UI libraries that are out there into our stack, because our JavaScript stack is outdated. That was one problem. The second problem is that since Limi left, we didn't have like that UX dictator, right? And I think that's essential for a good UX, right? That there's somebody who has like a background in usability and a strong opinion on how things are supposed to work. Because if you let like 300 developers do whatever they want, will never end up with a good UX, right? And I think we're doing the step in the right direction for both. So with Volto, we have like, or with Angular SDK as well, or with Vue, we have the new libraries at our fingertips, but that's not sufficient, because if you just integrate them, it's like you have a better UX, but it's not like what we're aiming for. But we also have Albert in the community, luckily for us, and we're iterating over every version that we are pushing, and we're trying really hard to get a better user experience, and then we have both, in my opinion, better technology and a better user experience. But that's really hard to get where Plone used to be, I think, in 2018, and not like look back what Plone was in like 2000 or something. But I think we have a good chance to get to that point again.
And I mean, you mentioned, you asked if there is a way to do that easily. No, I mean, we need to be aware that it's going to be difficult, it's going to be expensive. Why? Because we are building something different. We are not trying to build Plone the way it was, because it's not good enough anymore. As I said, we cannot help having a better UI. A better UI means it's dynamic. It's dynamic, it means more feature, more stuff to do. So you might doing it in Python, Haskell, or JavaScript. At the end, it's going to be expensive because you are doing more stuff. So it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be some pain. Let's be honest about it. It's not for free. That's for sure. But we need to do that, and so we keep on the right track, because everybody's doing it. So basically, we're not doing web the way we are doing web 10 years ago. So that's it.
I totally agree with you. So it's the question: does it give you all really a fantastic speed up and a better? I always remember Timo saying, "It's making fun again, writing the front-end stuff," and that's what I want to hear also from the Japanese community. Are they really? Does it make fun working with the stuff for you? Yeah.
Your question to the Japanese front engineer is to ask that you guys are enjoying the creating a JavaScript or content?
No, it's about, does the tool set and everything around give it quick feedback, and therefore it's making it more fun working with it?
How to make our job enjoying? All right. So in my case, in my opinion, so that I like to learn the new stuff and the new technologies. And in my company, I'm creating some platform to run the Python through the web, so that I need to our team need to create contents to learn, and even the nice images or training, and even we need to create a new user interface and so on. But our team is just want to create some new and some valuable things for the customers, so that even creating a content or even learning a new technologies and writing a code, even any kind of thing, it's tough work, but we can enjoy and continue creating. Just doing it like that.
Yeah.
Please use the mic so that we have.
自信がないんだけど、コンテンツとか、なんか、コンテンツのテクノロジーの何にしろ作っていく中で、そう、新しいことを学んだりする中でどう、それを楽しんだりったり続けていっているのかみたいな質問だったと思う。あ、もう一回聞き返す。いや、俺もですよ。多分一番
日本語、ジャパニー、そうですね。English? 今日のプレ、okay, my presentation, okay. So.
Do you like Internet Explorer?
I don't like. More too bad.
So that you speak Japanese,
So,
translate a bit. It's might better.
I like JavaScript and and I like make a motion and creative logic, creative coding. I like creative motion. So animation. なんて言うんだろう、ボタンのちっちゃい動きとか、
マイクロインタラクション、
インタラクション、それぐらいですかね。だからなんだろうな、So it's fun when you done it.
Like you like to create something, and you like to make it down.
Okay, is it okay?
Yeah, if I can say something about it, I saw your talks this morning, and saw yours, and you have all of you stated that the stack to make JavaScript right now is terrible and super difficult, and I mean everybody agrees on that. You need to know Webpack and npm and a lot of dependency, and you need to manage that and migrate every time because there always an update. So you all said so, and you found some strategy to avoid the difficulties because everybody wants to have fun at work. Of course, we don't want to suffer. And for instance, I remember you said, okay, my choice is Angular because it's easy, everything is in there. You have all the dependency internal, and you start with the CLI, and everything going to be great for me. So that's your solution. Your solution was to use Adobe and export from there using a plugin, and that's nice too. So depending on the use case, of course, the tooling might be different, but there is some way to achieve that. And I am facing the same thing. And in my talk, I was explaining that I've been rebuilding some elements that I used to have in the Python stack, I mean in the Plone stack, like Mr. Developer, for instance. I was missing that very badly, so I created a new Mr. Developer in Node.js, so I can use it in NPM project, right? So we all develop some strategies because right now, the stack is terrible. And the tooling is terrible, and we need, as a community, the JavaScript community, need to improve the tooling, need to improve the practices, and we Plone people have a great knowledge about how to do that, so we can bring that to this community as well. But this is a work we have to do, and it's not done yet, basically, right? So.
My answer is JavaScript engineers get bored easily.
Really? In my opinion, yes, sometimes we feel like that, so that technologies in JavaScript will changing so quickly,
yeah.
so that everybody's focusing on, it's Angular, or next time it's React something. I think we shouldn't listen too much. So that if you think that I really like the structure of the React, so you can use the React, or even you can use the Ember.js today. That I have used the Vue.js for a long time, and before using a Vue.js, I used the Knockout.js. Do you know that? It's Knockout.js. It's little bit old stuff, but it's same. It has the same MVVM structure, and I do love the MVVM, and I really using the MVVM framework for a long time. So in my case, I didn't change anything in JavaScript a community or environment, so that I think that may somebody feel like a JavaScript engineer get bored easily, but you shouldn't. It's okay. You don't need to follow them. You can do what you believe. So, for example, if you like a React, you can use the React. That is my answer.
Thank you. I learned ClojureScript last year, but now I learning ReasonML. Do you know ReasonML? ReasonML is dialect of OCaml, built by Facebook. Messenger was built ReasonML, Facebook Messenger.
Can I say a word? No? Okay. So I agree that if you go to a JavaScript conference, there are like always like new things that people talk about, and it's easy to get the feeling that it's like moving really fast and that you have so many choices, right? But you have to differentiate between what happens at the conference and what people talk about, and what companies are using, or projects like Plone in the real world, right? And it takes some time for a framework to get a certain degree of adoption. And I think that my personal feeling is that what's called this JavaScript fatigue, right, is a bit over, because we have like 3 like stable and major frameworks with Angular, React, and Vue, right? And I think all 3 are valid choices that companies could go with, right? So yeah, I think those are really 2 different things, and it's a good thing that the JavaScript community is so agile, that so many new things happen, that there are so many like. That was something that appealed to me very much in the JavaScript community, that people are just like toying around with stuff, right? They're just doing that because they can, not because they have a use case. And that's a great thing, because we all enjoy what we're doing, and it's great to just have a pet project and work on that and present that, right? But it's a different thing if you have a pet project and you toy around with it, or if you use that in real world projects, right? And I think it makes sense to just like separate those 2 and keep that in mind.
Time is over. Sorry. This session is over. Thank you for. But we have another question. But next time. Okay. Thank you.